Welcome back, guys. Today is we'll be deploying our API clean architecture in our server, which is Ubuntu, using Docker. That's what we will be doing today. So first is let's make our Docker files. So in our API directories, there are two files which we'll be making. First is the Docker file and the Docker ignore. So the purpose of this Docker ignore is just the same with the git ignore. So in our Docker file, when we copy files from our directory to the container, those files will be ignored. So I have a sample here, so just copy it. So I will explain line by line. So first is the image we'll be using is, oh, I put it in the Docker ignore. The image we'll be using is the node version 10. Then our directory, working directory, is user source up. Then copy package JSON, which is here. Then user root, you can just remove this or run comment, but I just put it there because if there is some permission error, you need to use the root user. So next is npm install, then copy. This copy dot means that we will copy everything to the work directory here. So the files that are not ignored by this docker ignore will be copied to our working directory. Then expose is the port which will be our API will be running in our NV file, which I just changed it to 2001. We will be making the env file in the container, in our server. So I will just leave it as port 24. So that's it for our Docker file. For the Docker ignore is copy here. So node modules, blah blah blah. This all files will be ignored. So that's it. Our Docker compose file is we'll be making it in our server. So I'll just push it to our repo. So once pushed, we'll just get the link. So here's the Dockers. Then here is my server. I bought this in DigitalOcean, which is here. So let's clone the. This is an Ubuntu server. 18.04, I guess. Here, yeah. 18.04. So let's clone the API. I'm using the root account, so it's okay if I don't use the sudo. Oh. So there's our API. So let's go inside it and make our. You don't have to do the npm install because the npm install will be run inside the container. So let's make the env file. Oh, by the way, I have already Postgres running in a container. Let's just check. Oh, these are the dummy projects that I made. Just ignore that. Then here's the Postgres. Let's try to open it. Using Navigat, I use Navigat to connect in our database. So here is the connection, and here are the database inside that container. So let's make RNB file first. Then our Dockerfile is we expose port 2001. So let's make our NV here. For environment is you can change it whenever whatever you want. I'll just be using development. So this is as is. Just have to change that. And for the basic auth also. And for the testing is this just change this with the IP of my server. This port is just use the same API. So these NV variables is you will know the purpose of it if you watch my testing videos. So just scan for my videos there in my account. Also, I forgot to change the database credentials. So I just copy from my dummy account, dummy project. So this is the credentials of the database. Oh. And then we'll be making the Docker compose file. So I already made it, just copy paste. So we'll be using the version 3.3. Then we'll only have one service which is our API. So for the build is inside this directory, it will look for the Dockerfile, then the start unless it is stopped. So it is the name of our container is API clean. Then for the volumes this is our working directory here in the Dockerfile. Also just append the node modules. Then for our port it is running in port 2001 inside the container. Then this is what will be exposed outside, so that you can change it any port you want. So let's try it. Thank you. So this is the volume from here. So that's it. So to run our API, to build our API, do this command, add the no cache flag to build it using it will not cache the files. Go. Wait for it to install. So the image node 10 is not it is already here in my it is already downloaded in my server, so it didn't pull. Is for the tricycle, didn't pull in the Docker hub. It's done building, so let's try to run it. So there's no error. Let's check if it is running. Here it's running in port 8090. So let's try. Route is nowhere to be found, so it is working because this This is what will the express route will be returning if it is not existing, which is here, this one. So let's try to Postman. Oh, by the way, we'll be making the database first. So our database, I just copy the database. Let's edit it. So let's rebuild it. So if you didn't put the no cache, you will see that the Docker, when you are building it, it will be written here that uses cache. So let's try. Okay. Using cache. So if example you see during npm install, if you have new package, so the API won't run because it will be using only the previous packages, so the new package won't be installed. So we'll be initializing our database. So let's go inside our container and do the sequelize commands. So these commands is you can find it in the Docker official docs. So I'm already inside the container, inside the working directory. So these are our files. So let's initialize our database. I use SQL. Clean, it does not exist, so I forgot to make the database. So let's create a database. So these don't have any tables yet. So no tables. So let's try again. So only one table, which is the employee. There. So let's exit and try to Postman. So this is my local, which is already it is not running anymore. So let's change my environment to this manually and save. So let's try. Route is nowhere to be found. I forgot the API /API. So you have employees. So let's post forbidden out. The basic auth is not updated. The employee already exists. So when we get this, so it's already existing. So let's try in the browser /API/employees. Oh, there's no basic auth, so it's forbidden. So here we can already postman it with the value of my server. This one, the 128.199 something. So we have successfully deployed our API in our server using Docker. So that's all, guys. Thank you.